big picture, by the end of the season, what was the ceiling for the Browns group of weapons? How good could this group be in week 11, 10, 13 by the end of the season? Could we look in the middle of the pack?
The Cleveland Browns finally have something they have not had in a long time. Young offensive pieces worth getting excited about. Not just one name, not just one random breakout hope. A full group. Running backs with burst, receivers with size, slot options with speed, tight ends who can actually create mismatches. And now the big question is simple. What is the ceiling for these young Browns weapons in 2026? That is the perfect opening because it frames the whole debate. The Browns are not being ranked like a dangerous offense yet. ESPN still has their weapons near the bottom of the league. And honestly, that makes sense on paper. A lot of these guys are young. Some are unproven, some are coming back from injuries. Some have not had steady quarterback play. But ceiling is not about what the group has already done. Ceiling is about what happens if the pieces finally click.
And yes, I'm optimistic on this group. I think Quinshon Judkins, if he's healthy, can be a really good player, maybe even better than that. I think Harold Fannin is already a really good player and maybe a superstar, and I know this receiving core is going to be upgraded. So these guys haven't taken a single training camp snap yet, right, Jay? But Denzel Boston was the unquestioned star of the spring.
This is where the story gets interesting. Cleveland's offense does not need every young player to become a star. It needs enough of them to become useful at the same time. That has been the missing piece. The Browns have had talent before. They've had names before, but they haven't had a rhythm. They haven't had identity. They haven't had a group that grows together with the quarterback. And that is why 2026 feels different. The Browns are trying to build something younger. Todd Monken's offense needs players who can win in space. It needs backs who can hit the crease. It needs receivers who can create easy yards. It needs tight ends who can punish linebackers. If the quarterback gets real help, this offense can look completely different from the old version. Start with the running backs. Quinshon Judkins is the big swing. If he's healthy, he gives Cleveland the kind of runner that can change the whole personality of the offense. He has power. He has balance. He can get outside. He can finish runs. And reports from OTAs said he was already moving well after the lower leg injury that ended his rookie season. That matters, because if Judkins returns close to full speed, the Browns do not need him to ease in forever. They can build around him early.
I think Casey Concepcion, I think Dylan Sampson, and I think Isaiah Bond are really important. Those are the easy yards guys that you and I have talked about. So as they get more comfortable then stretching the ball down the field with Boston.
Then you add Dylan Sampson. That gives the Browns a different gear. Judkins can punish defenses. Sampson can stress them. That combination matters in Monken's system because it gives Cleveland options. Early downs, screens, motion, outside zone, checkdowns, change of pace. The Browns have been too easy to defend when the run game stalls. A Judkins-Sampson duo could change that.
Very nice. Good job.
Yes, sir.
Judkins is not just a name on a depth chart. He looks like a real engine if he's right. The ceiling for Cleveland's running backs is simple. They don't have to be the best group in the NFL, but they can be the group that makes the offense manageable again. They can keep the Browns out of 3rd and long. They can protect a young quarterback. They can make play action real. That is how the entire offense starts breathing. Now go to the receivers. Jeudy is the veteran name. Cedric Tillman is the physical target. Casey Concepcion is the easy yards weapon. Denzel Boston brings size and control. Jamari Thrash and the rest of the room give Cleveland competition. This is not a finished group, but it is a more interesting group than people think.
You can go press man if you want, but you got to deal with this big monster out here. Denzel Boston's kind of the same way. And then Casey Concepcion, you can just do so many things with him, right? He's shifty. He's great after the catch. The screen game is going to be big here for Todd Monken. I would expect Monken to use him in the same way that he used Zay Flowers in Baltimore, right?
Casey Concepcion is the kind of player this offense needed. Not because he has to be a #1 receiver right away, because he can create simple offense. Jet motion, screens, slot work, quick throws, yards after the catch. Those plays matter when you are trying to help a quarterback. The Browns cannot live only on tough outside throws. They need free yards. Concepcion gives them a chance to steal those yards. Then there is Denzel Boston. He gives Cleveland a different body type. He is not the same kind of weapon as Concepcion. He can win with size. He can control routes. He can be a red zone option. That matters because the Browns need variety. If every receiver wins the same way, defenses adjust. But when one player can separate underneath, another can win with size, and another can stretch the field, the offense becomes harder to call against. This is the ceiling of the receiver room. Not superstar level yet, but dangerous by committee. Jeudy is the polished route runner, Tillman as the big physical target, Concepcion as the motion and yak piece, Boston as the bigger possession/red zone option. If 2 of those young receivers hit, the Browns suddenly have real answers. If 3 hit, then the offense can jump much faster than the national rankings expect. Now the tight ends may be the most underrated part of the whole conversation. David Njoku is still the name people know, but Harold Fannin Jr. may be the player who changes the ceiling. He already flashed enough to be viewed as a serious 2026 weapon. Some fantasy previews even called him the Browns' top tight end option after a strong rookie season. That is not nothing. Tight end is usually one of the hardest positions for young players. If Fannin is already producing, Cleveland has something.
Right? Then, obviously, receiver. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Isaiah Bond. Who's after that? Are you keeping? How many receivers are you keeping? Is it Said Tillman, who's had some proven days that he can make plays in the NFL? Is it Jamari Thrash?
Fannin's ceiling is what makes this offense fun. He can be more than a safety valve. He can be a matchup piece. Move him around, put him in line, put him in the slot, use him against linebackers, use him in the red zone, pair him with Njoku and force defenses to declare. That kind of 2 tight end flexibility can help a young quarterback more than people realize. And this is where all the pieces connect. The Browns' weapons are not scary because one guy is already elite. They are scary because the combinations can work. Judkins and Sampson can make the run game dangerous. Concepcion can create easy yards. Boston and Tillman can give size. Jeudy can separate. Njoku and Fannin can attack the middle. That gives the quarterback options, and options matter.
He was excellent with Zay Flowers, and it'll be genuinely interesting to see how the Ravens operate Zay Flowers without Todd Monken with their new coaching staff. But Todd Monken had so much success that if he can replicate that with Concepcion, you could easily see this be extraordinarily successful. And Casey Concepcion has the potential to be a number 1 receiver, which is what the Browns desperately needed.
That is why the ceiling is higher than the ranking. ESPN can rank the Browns near the bottom because the production is not proven yet. That's fair, but rankings do not measure what happens when young players make jumps together. They do not measure timing. They do not measure scheme fit. They do not measure confidence. They do not measure what happens when a quarterback finally gets easy throws and a run game that works. The floor is still real. Judkins has to stay healthy. Concepcion has to avoid drops. Boston has to adjust. Fannin has to prove he can handle more defensive attention. Jeudy has to be consistent. Tillman has to keep developing, and the quarterback has to make it all go. If that part fails, the weapons will not look nearly as exciting, but the ceiling is real too. This group can become fast, physical, multiple, young, annoying to defend, not because they have one top 5 superstar, because they can attack different areas of the field. They can win with run game pressure. They can win with quick throws. They can win with tight end matchups. They can win with size near the goal line. That is the vision. And if Todd Monken gets it right, the Browns' young weapons could become the reason this offense finally stops feeling stuck. The question is not whether Cleveland has talent. The question is whether 2026 is the year all that talent finally grows up at the same time.